All right.
Hey, I'm over here at the Orange County Golf Tournament here, and we have one of the sponsors of the tournament, and I want to thank Brandon and with Epic Plastics, and he's representing a company that has landscape edging, and so we're going to do a little deep dive in landscape edging, the pros and the cons of different types of edging, and why you would want to use a quality plastic edging when you're doing your landscape projects. So first of all, thanks for coming out here
Thanks.
and sponsoring the chapter, the Orange County chapter is California Landscape Contractors. And so I install landscape edging a lot in a lot of different projects we do, like if we're doing decomposed granite or if we're doing delineating planter bed areas versus the turf areas and stuff like that. So give us a quick overview about of the plastics and basically how it's made or just the virtues of the product.
Absolutely. Yeah. So our product, Epic Plastics. We've been a part of the Baselite company for many years now. We've been around since the mid '90s, and what differentiates our plastic edging solutions versus any other plastic edging solution is that we only use high density polyethylenes in all of our materials. It is 100% post-consumer recycled plastic. So it's a very environmental product, but it's a very pro-grade, strong, and durable product. And the reason why you would want to use a solution like this over, let's say, wood or metal is that they're relatively easier to install versus metal. These are going to be the safest edging solutions in the market. You don't have the high risk of lacerations to the public, and especially certain environments like public parks or recreational facilities, maybe educational facilities.
Now we're talking. I have a lot of people that these are a lot of the people on the channel. They're do-it-yourselfers, and
Yeah.
so from the standpoint of some of the virtues you just pointed out, I don't know if that would really come into a lot of play with a lot of homeowners.
Yeah.
We have a lot of homeowners that they go and they buy the edging at the big boxes, and it's like rolled up, and it's the kind of is that recycled plastic, or is that consumer what you just mentioned that this plastic is here?
Post-consumer recycled plastic. A lot of our competitors, they're using a lot of industrial plastics. It's not post-consumer plastic like ours.
What is post-consumer plastic? What do you mean?
Like the plastic that you and I use at home, like our laundry detergent bottles or soda bottles.
Ah, okay.
All we use, like I said, are 100% HDPE plastics. We don't use any low-density plastics, and what differentiates a low-density plastic from a high-density plastic is that with a high-density plastic, you get much less of those expansion and contraction characteristics that are sort of an unwanted characteristic with plastic edging. Whereas with low-density plastics, it's a lot worse when it comes.
A lot of expansion and contraction.
A lot of movement, yeah.
And so that edging actually like comes up out of the ground. I've seen jobs where like the heat that causes the edging like to pull up out of the ground, and they have these little metal stakes that are like in the lip of the landscape edging, but over time it seems like it lifts up out of the ground. So is that what you're mentioning from the standpoint?
That is what I'm referring to, and with any plastic, you will get some level of movement and some level of expansion and contraction. But with ours, because it is HDPE, you get a significant amount less of those unwanted characteristics. So the most amount of movement that you might get from our boards in regard to expansion and contraction is maybe 1/4 of an inch. But with a lot of the other plastic edging solutions in the market, you get a significant amount more of a lot of those unwanted characteristics.
Now, would the thickness of the plastic make a difference though from that expansion and contraction?
That's a really good question, and in fact, it does not. In fact, a lot of very common misconception with thicker edging versus a thinner edging is that a lot of people think that a thicker edging will give you some sort of more of a structural advantage, or perhaps more of an advantage against the expansion and contraction characteristics. But
right.
Really, it's purely aesthetic. As far as the thickness of the board, it's purely just whether or not you like a thicker look. But other than that, there's not really any sort of structural advantage, and so
like this thicker look here.
Yeah.
Now, what type of application would you see this? More of a commercial level, or like?
I would say DIY as well. Because like I said, with a solution like with this size profile right here, it's purely aesthetic.
That's like 2 inches, huh?
It's about 2 inches, yeah, nominal 2 inches. So it's purely just of whether or not you prefer a thicker look. And
Like-
in regard to the DIY customer, you know, another key benefit that they would like to know is that when installed correctly, because this product does require specific methods of installation for it to function properly.
Right.
But when installed correctly, once it's in the ground, it's going to last there forever, because plastic takes literally, I think, like 700 years to decompose. So,
Wow.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
No problem.
So in regard to, for example, especially the DIY customer, what they want is for the edging to be able to be installed, and then for them not to have to worry about it. Whereas if you're doing a steel or aluminum edging, it's going to rust over time. And here's the thing as well, you know, a lot of these DIY customers, they're wanting it for their backyards, their front yards. And a lot of times these people are going to have families, they're going to have pets, and they might like the look and aesthetic of a metal edging, but what's a key point in regard to metal edging is that they're extremely unsafe. And if you have something like that in your front or backyard, and if you have kids or pets, there's an extremely high risk for laceration.
Wow.
All these solutions here, you don't have that extreme risk for lacerations. And the type of injuries people get from metal edging is quite significant. A lot of times they're needing subspecialty consultation visits at the hospital. You know, they have these, you know, really sort of dangerous wounds, quite frankly, when due to metal edging. Whereas with any of our solutions, we do make the safest in the market. So in regard to the DIY customer, that's another really key benefit with any of our solutions. And so, what was I gonna say? So yeah, one other thing, if I may mention, apart from our bender board, we're also manufacturing another edging called the Epic Edge. It's this one right here. Now this actually performs just as well as a steel edging, but at a significantly cheaper cost than steel or aluminum.
Wow.
You're looking at about 30 to 40% cheaper than steel or aluminum edging with this solution. So, and while you still have the key benefit of safety and ease of installation, you have now a pro grade edging solution that will perform just as well as the unsafest edging solution while still being the safest.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
So is this only comes in this width then?
You could also have it in this. This is the Epic Edge right here as well.
Ah, okay.
And so what's great about this solution is now you don't have to worry about all those issues as far as expansion and contraction.
Right. It's pretty heavy.
It's very durable. And although it's extremely durable and sturdy,
right,
it'll still give you a 36-inch minimum bend radius.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Very tight bends. This pamphlet right here, if you could just show and kind of, this will actually show you the comparison between Epic Edge and metal edging. And you can see there a lot of the key benefits in regard to the way it performs, its durability, safety, aesthetics. It's a win-win because not only is it cost effective, but it'll perform like a pro grade steel edging without the cost impact of steel edging, and also the ease of installation.
When you're talking about installation,
yeah.
Now what's the key to a correct installation when putting these stakes in? Because sometimes I like using these stakes here because it has the hole already pre-drilled. I've used these quite a bit, and sometimes they split depending on, you know, how they're hammered in or just how we do the thing. So what's your takeaway?
Yeah. So in regard to, I mean, great question. In regard to staking with any plastic edging installation, there's a few things. One, you want to drive the stake in deep enough into the ground. So that means, you know, at least an inch below the top of the board is where it needs to be.
Okay.
A lot of people, however, a common mistake is that when they stake into the ground, when they hit a hard spot, they oftentimes just lob off the rest of the stake, right?
Me, yeah. I'm guilty of that.
But the problem with that is that these boards rely primarily on the stakes for them to be held in the ground, and so therefore, if I have every other stake that has only partial purchase in the ground,
right,
I'm not going to have that bite that I need in order for these boards to be held into the ground. And so it's crucial that the stake be at least an inch below the top of the board,
right,
and that you use enough stakes. So with each piece of bender board, which comes in 20-foot lengths,
right,
you need at least 4 to 5 stakes. However, if there's more of a curve or a bend, you need to use more stakes to make up for that. And another thing, never want to stake directly on the joint. You want to begin staking 3 to 4 inches away from the joint and never screw the boards together.
Hey, we got our golfers coming up, so we don't want to interrupt their game. So what we'll do is we'll do a little continuation of this video presentation about the Epic board. And where's the best place to find these products?
We're in about 1,000 different retailers. You can find them in SiteOnes, Ewing's, even Home Depot has it on their cantilevers. So don't look for the Bend-A-Board in the lawn and garden section. Look for it in the back cantilevers and full lengths. Thanks, man.
All right.
Edward, I appreciate it.